12 hours ago, my tree's hole was dry and empty. Now it's all wet. Caution, if you're not mature, please leave because this is serious. My tree hole used to sound like a dry piece of paper. Now it sounds like a wet piece of paper. Even though I removed your sick mushrooms, the mushroom-eating ants found leftovers. Now they're putting their own moisture into my hole. I kept that hole dry as a desert with daily water testing, cloth swabbing, and I used a hairdryer. So the only way for my hole to have grown mushrooms is if one of you put your own moisture into it. I mean, you thought, oh, it's just some perfectly dry random tree hole, huh? I mean, as if a perfectly dry vacant tree hole like that just exists without being closely pampered with daily moisture testing, cloth swabbing, and using a hairdryer. As if it wasn't common knowledge that I was saving that hole for the day I was big enough to use it myself. But one of you moistened it, and I know it was one of you who stayed at my weekly party I hold for everyone who commented on the video that week. So which one of you did it? So nobody wants to confess, huh? I guess I'll have to hold on to your party favors then. Okay, let's go over the timeline. I held my weekly Buff Nips party like normal. Flooby, an average YouTube viewer, were doing the baby bobbing barrel. Proper Gentleman and Chicken Bradley were playing baby tennis. Sean Perrell was testing his strength. He's a strong guy. And Reimer was participating in the baby stretchathon. I remember Verge was at the baby build station, while Dan Loeb was next to him at the baby carving table. And wait a minute, those aren't regular babies. It's Real Emerald Egg and Waffle Melon, who commented late after I edited the previous bits. They're trying to sneak in disguised as babies. Now that's the kind of hijinks I can get behind. And then I myself was watching Boy McCool bare his soul at the poetry competition. And thanks to the babies who gave their lives, so we can celebrate in Buff Nips style. Everything was good. I set up a party with activities to rival the luxurious indulgence of an Egyptian pharaoh. And it's like one of you went and nutted in my pyramid. Imagine if I was a pharaoh and you put your moisture in a pyramid that I was saving for when I was big enough to use it for myself. Tutankhamun's curse wouldn't compare to the curses I would put on you. By the way, have you actually looked at this awesome yellow hat? The craftsmanship on these curves gets me so riled up, but I choose to avoid the Egyptian Museum in Cairo because I know I wouldn't be able to control myself. That's the difference between children and men. What annoys me more than the fact that I was keeping that hole dry for when I was big enough to use it myself is that I set up all these activities which weren't cheap. You can't just buy human babies at a local baby store run by a baby. I'm just very disappointed in all of you for being so immature, and until someone decides to be a good and mature person, you will all be strapped to my rotating torture device. Before Tuesday the 27th, I need alibis from all of you. Excuses for why it couldn't have been your moisture. Like maybe your tubes are tied, or maybe you're too short to reach the hole. But if you stay silent, I will assume you either came in my tree or were an accomplice to it. Who did it? Who did it? Who nutted in my tree? Who nutted in my tree? Hole!
God!
Hole!
God, please!
Hole! 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 Hole!